"What have you found there?" Leo hyacinth on the eve of a spring equinox. While the rest of the village was busy painting wooden eggs and stringing garlands of ivy, 10-year-old Leo was knee-deep in the mud beneath the great oak. This tree was a gnarled giant, its roots like the knuckles of an ancient god, and it had been his grandfather Silas's favorite spot. Silas had been gone for a year now, leaving behind a house full of half-finished wood carvings and a silence that Leo still did not know how to fill. Leo stood up, wiping the grime from the silver surface. "I think it was Grandpa's. It was Renda's in his size, or Vive like this." It was his sitting root. He turned the object over, finding a single letter, S. It sure was a gnarled giant. It hummed in his very teeth, as the sound fairies talking as well. Silas had been a man of secrets. "A man is Voltum. I listen to mine. Then even the knee fine. I think my screen bane. Tames for long. And Miss Famous really friend in time. Shane. These are result chance and that is to the trenders. Then Crateman got a silvers that shipping rate tended justing mispose. Silas had been a man of secrets, a man who spired as in a Parshat Holdens. He was not spinning yarn bark. Instead, a pale, ethereal blue light began to pulse from the ground where Leo stood. "Mom, look," he shouted, his voice cracking with excitement. Sarah stepped off the porch, her eyes widening as she approached. Behind her, Leo's father, Thomas, wiped his hands on a rag and followed, his skeptical expression softening into one of pure bewilderment. 10 signs to the trees following the phantom marks of a great hare. The deeper they went, the more the forest transformed. The trees seemed to lean in, their branches heavy with glowing moss that dripped like liquid emeralds. The whispers Silas had often spoken of were no longer just a metaphor. They were soft, overlapping murmurs, like the sound of a distant crowd cheering. Every few hundred yards, the tracks would circle a specific tree, and there, tucked into the bark or hanging from a low limb, they found a small, translucent envelope made of something felt like dried dragonfly wings, ganske skythe entrevrenden to this levend, her sense wide, watching the family with curious and blinking eyes. The mystery was no longer about where the trail led, but about the weight of the words being returned to them. Silas had not just left them a farm, he had left them a map of his heart, hidden in the very soil they trod any disease. Perfectly circular clearing where the grass grew thick and white as sheep's wool. In the center of the glade stood a stone cairn that Leo had helped his grandfather build years ago. Back then, Silas had told him it was a monument to the great keeper of the woods. Now, the silver whistle in Leo's hand was vibrating so fiercely it felt like it might turn into liquid. At the top of the cairn sat a final envelope, larger than the others and glowing, with a name a pulse of the hollow. Tomorrow, when you find the eggs in the village, remember that the best treasures are the ones you have to look for with your soul. As Leo finished reading, a massive shape emerged from the shadows of the trees. It was a rabbit, but it stood as tall as a pony, very exchanging at the fixed type of the pair. The walk back to the cottage felt shorter, the woods no longer dark or daunting, but familiar and protective. The sun began to peek over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of bruised purple and apricot. The village was stirring, the sounds of hammers and laughter drifting up the hill. "We will tell the story today. People should know. They should know that the woods are not just trees and shadows." Leo looked back at the great oak one last time. The spectral tracks had faded with the coming of the dawn. But the silver whistle Silas loved. Thomas nodded, his arm draped over her shoulders. "And we will tell the story at the feast today.